For IELTS cue cards, your answer needs to be clear and concise and have the details about the topic. By the end of this video, I'll show you how you can do that. My name is Japneet, let's get started. So when they ask you the question, describe something that saves you time, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Time management? Bingo, that's right. To effectively answer this cue card, you need to know the basics of time management. That way you can speak uninterruptedly, and of course the follow-ups which you think are difficult right now, they will seem a lot easy because you will have all the information that you need to answer those. And throughout the video, focus on my vocabulary because these words, they're important that you use them. And of course, I'm going to arm you with all the information that you need to give a clear and concise answer. And one final thing before we get started, use these time management techniques for your IELTS preparation because just about anything, be it any kind of project, if you use your time wisely, you will get results. So, what is time management? Time management refers to the ability to effectively plan and organize one's time to accomplish tasks and achieve goals. This involves setting priorities, having your goals in line, and of course, making sure that you plan everything out and you schedule it to finish everything clearly and you don't waste any time. This will help you reduce your stress, get things done faster, and be more effective. There are 4 key principles that you need to know about time management when you have to give this answer. Number 1, setting clear goals and priorities. That's the most important part. You need to know what the key priorities are. Number 2, creating a realistic schedule. Make sure you plan everything out so that you can do it and not just think that you might be able to do it. So, don't bombard yourself with too many tasks to complete. That way you'll burn out. Number 3, avoiding distractions and procrastination. So you have a plan in place. Now it's really important that you implement it and you don't procrastinate and waste time and not get it done. And finally, the 4th principle, it's regularly reviewing and adjusting your time management strategies. That's right, you have a plan and you're implementing it. If something comes your way that might, put you off track, just maneuver that. So now you know what the 4 key principles are. Let's look at some time management tools as well. Number 1, it's a planner. Basically, you plan everything out. Set deadlines, set times that you have to finish tasks by. Number 2, it's scheduling apps. It could be something as simple as a to-do list on your phone. You schedule it that, hey, on Monday I'm going to do this task. On Tuesday I'm going to prepare for my IELTS writing, or whatever that task is. Number 3, you have to break down tasks. Look at what the entire task is, break it down into smaller pieces. Now let's look at some time management strategies as well. The first strategy that I'm going to tell you is the ABC method. So it's basically you classify the task into A, B, or C. A being something very important and very urgent. B is a task that is important but it's not urgent. C, it's not important and not urgent. So that way you focus on task A first, which is important and urgent, and then leave B and C for later. Strategy number 2 is the Pomodoro technique. So basically what you do is, you set yourself a timer for about 25 minutes, you work on a task without any distractions or breaks. Once the timer goes off after 25 minutes, you take a break for, 5-10 minutes, whatever you want. After that, set up the timer again, and then you go do your task again. So this way what you do is, you get the task done. Also, you take consistent breaks, that way you don't burn out. Now strategy number 3, that's SMART goals. So SMART, it's basically an acronym. First of all, the goal has to be specific. For example, say you want to score 7 bands or more in IELTS. It's specific, 7. Following that, the goal has to be measurable. So in this case, your practice has to be measured through test and you have to see what the feedback you're getting from your tutor. Then the goal has to be attainable. Here, the goal is attainable. You can get a 7 band or more if you study hard and you focus on it, right? After that, make sure the goal is relevant. So improving speaking skills is relevant to achieving a high score on the IELTS exam, right? So there you go. It's a relevant goal that, hey, I'm going to practice more with speaking so it becomes relevant. And finally, it has to be time bound. So for example, you say, hey, within 3 months, I'm going to move my band score from 6.5 to 8 or 6.5 to 7, whatever you want. So it has to be a time bound and you put a deadline on it. So that's how you make a SMART goal. You can use this for anything else as well. And finally, some miscellaneous techniques that you can use. First of all, learn to say no. Whatever is not important or you think, it doesn't deserve your time, say no, don't do it. Let someone else take care of it. Number 2, delegating tasks when appropriate. If you think, a team member can do this better than you and you save time doing that, do that. Delegate it to someone else. And finally, managing your energy. That is very important because if you run out of energy, you wouldn't be able to finish the project or task on hand. So now we have looked at, what time management is, some strategies, tools, and things like that. Now let's look at the challenges for which, all these things were made. Now this will give you some information where you can use them and how to use them. So basically that's what it's going to arm you with. The biggest problem with young people right now is they have too much to do. You have to manage your academic life, your professional life, and then your social life as well. So for example, you have schoolwork that you have to do. You have to meet your friends and you have to be social, so that's that. And also you have to focus on what you want to do moving forward in life. So professional life as well, you need to focus on that. Number 2, impact of technology on our social lives. Every other minute we pick up a phone and then we are looking at social media, we get a notification, we have someone messaging us. There's a lot of distractions. That way, we are unable to focus on important things. On average, a young adult, they spend about 3 hours on social media every day. Have you noticed that? So if it's 3 hours a day, that's like 21 hours a week. That's a lot of time just scrolling on social media. The third big problem is learning how to set priorities and making decisions. I would say nearly 40% of candidates that I've spoken to, they really struggle with this because, they're new to it. They are very young and they haven't done this before in life. So it becomes a little difficult for them to manage. So, that's one challenge as well. And finally, the fourth challenge, lack of experience. Sometimes what we don't know how to do, we suck at it. So, we get better with time. So that's another thing as well. So these are the 4 challenges that a lot of young people face. Maybe you face it too. Something you can talk about in your IELTS exam as well there. Now, let's move on to what's the latest and greatest in time management. We'll look at some trends, we'll look at some innovations, like what's happening. The first thing that comes to mind is AI and machine learning. So now a lot of apps and a lot of, different time management tools, they're using artificial intelligence and machine learning to basically automate a lot of things. So all their routine tasks, they can be automated through that. Number 2, digital minimalism and mindfulness. A lot of apps, they'll focus on digital minimalism, which means spending less time on, technology, but only on things that are more mindful, that, where you can be productive, things like that. Number 3, social media integration. So a lot of apps, what they're doing is they're integrating social media onto the apps where, where you can collaborate with your friends and you can finish a lot of tasks faster. This makes communication easier as well, so you save time. And the fourth, and my favorite, is incorporating gamification elements. So what it means is that these apps, if you do a task on time or if you do a task faster, you get rewarded, you get certain points or you get a badge. That way, they turn the process of doing things into a game. And it really helps you, it motivates you to do better. Now let's look at some time management tools and apps. The first one that comes to mind is the Todoist. So basically it's a to-do list and task management app. What you do is you create and organize tasks, you set reminders, and of course, you track your progress, how you're doing. Number 2, Trello. It's basically a project management tool. So with that, what you do is you create boards and cards to organize your tasks and collaborate with your friends. Number 3, Asana. That's project management and collaboration platform where teams can come together and work on projects. So for example, they have a big project going on, they can do it on there. Number 4th, Evernote. Evernote is basically a note-taking platform. You can create notes, you can clip web articles, save files in centralized locations, things like that. So it just centralizes everything. You don't have to have notes like 10 different places. Helps with that. And number 5, it's Focus To Do. It's basically a productivity app, which makes you focus on tasks and takes away all the distractions. So you can, it tracks your habits and helps you be more productive. So those are like 5 tools that comes to mind here. Now finally, let's look at the answer framework, how you can incorporate all the information that I've just given you into a good answer. So first of all, you start with the introduction. Give a brief overview of time management, talk what time management is about, things like that. After that, give it a quick follow-up on the specific tool you want to talk about here, touch on that. Number 2, you have to talk about the time-saving tool that you use. What the benefits are, what the key features are, talk about things like that. And of course, you can talk about how you discovered it. Did someone recommend it to you? Or maybe you have a habit of, spending too much time on social media, so you wanted to change that. Talk about your experience there. Follow that up with the benefits of using the tool. Talk about what happened before you were using the tool and how this tool has helped you improve results. Things like that. 4th, you provide examples of how you use the tool. Talk about a project or talk about a school assignment or whatever where you use the tool. So, it adds details, juice to the answer as well. And finally, 5th is conclusion. Just basically summarize the benefits of using the time management tool. So there you go. That's how you can answer, about time management. And when follow-ups do come, you have all this information that you already have consumed at this point, and you can answer back with. So there you go. Now you know everything you need to about what time management is, who it is for, why it's important, what challenges to overcome, and of course, tools you can use. And you also know how to use this information into a good framework, how you can provide an answer, right? And hey, if you liked the video, hit subscribe and get your notifications on so you don't miss out on more valuable information like this. And of course, if you have a friend who needs help with this cue card, or they might be struggling with time management in general, pass them this video. This would be useful for them. And of course, do some more research if you want to add, more depth to your answer. So yeah, see you in the next video.